All right, so today we're going to be talking about ledger lines and what they are, how to figure them out, and we're going to do it in treble and bass clef, and we may have a little bonus C clef ledger line bit. So let's start off in treble clef. Remember, this is G clef because it swirls around here, so that's where G is. Also, you should know where A is. A is going to be right above that. Okay, so to figure out ledger lines, so we only have 5 lines and 4 spaces right here on our staff. But what happens if we want a note that's, say, higher than that or lower than that? We use what are called ledger lines. And they're basically just little lines that extend the staff. So now it's a 6-note staff. So I'm going to just put a note right there. And how would we figure that out? Well, we can count down. I think it's beneficial to memorize what the top and bottom lines of each clef are. So let's just figure that out. So if this is A, this is G, this is F, this is E. So E is the bottom line of treble clef. And if this is A, B, C, D, E, F, F is the top line of treble clef. So you should memorize that E is the bottom and F is the top. Now from here, we can do the same thing we've been doing. As we go down, we go backwards in the alphabet. Let's put our musical alphabet up here. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. That's it. Song's over. So before E is D. That would mean D is right below the staff. And then one more down is C. So this note is going to be a C. Okay, let's do a pretty extreme example. So 3 ledger lines down. So now our staff is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines. And there's also spaces here. I'll do a space example in a second. But here's E. And then before E would be D. And then this line is C. The space below this first ledger line is a B, because I'm going backwards in the alphabet. The line below that space is an A. So this would be middle C, B, A. That would mean this space between here is a G, and then this final ledger line is an F. Okay, let's do another low ledger line example. Let's do this one. Okay, so E is right here, and this is the E above middle C. D is the space below the staff. The first ledger line is middle C. Then we go down to the space below that. That's a B. The second ledger line down is an A, and then the space below the second ledger line is a G. Now, if we knew this was an F, we would know that this is a G too because it's 1 above it. So we just go 1 letter up in the alphabet. F to G, right? This is F. That's G right there. Okay, let's do some high examples. Let's do this first one. Okay, so if this is an F on the top line, that would make this note above the staff a G, the space above the staff. And then the next line is an A. So F. Actually, this is going to be way higher than that. This is this F, G, there's our high A. So this is a high A right here. I'm going to extend these B, C, D, E, F. Writing on the piano. Okay, let's do a high space above. So let's look at this one. F is right here. That would make this G. Then we go back to the beginning. So F is right here, G. That makes this A, which we knew. Above A is going to be a B. Above B, 2 ledger lines up, is a C, and then the space above that is a D. So this is a D. Okay? Let's look at, and sharps and flats are not going to make too much of a difference here because the notes are still in the same place. So sharp. This becomes an A sharp. So it was this A, now it's at this A sharp, because a sharp always goes to the right. If this is a D, this high D right here, this is going to go, the flat's going to take it down a half step, make it a D flat. All right, so let's look at some bass clef ones. I draw the dot on the 4th line. I draw my dots surrounding the 4th line, make that sideways sad face, so sad. And then I know that this is where F is, and my A is right here. Okay? Actually, I'll draw this back here. Yeah. So that's our reference A. So that would mean if we go down one, our bottom line is G. And let's just go up from F. So F is right here. F, G, A. Oh, our top line is A. That's another A. That's really nice. So if we're looking at ledger lines down, let's start out 2 ledger lines down in bass clef. So if this is a G, and this G is this G right here, I'll extend this again. G, F, E, D, C. So if this is a G, right below is this F, below that is this E, below that E, this space is a D, and then below there is our low C. So our piano's not going to allow us to go much lower than that, so let's do a space example, and let's do this one right here. Okay, so again, our bottom line is G, so right below that is F, and then below that, on the first ledger line is the low E, and then below that, the space below that first ledger line is a D. And again, sharps and flats, so this was a C, low C, but now it's a C sharp, so we move it up a half step right there. Okay, here's D. That's actually this D. And then we make it a D flat, so we move it to the left with a D. That's our D flat. Let's do some upper ones. So I'll draw this reference. A is right there in bass clef. Let's look at that. And let's do this one. Just 2 examples, that's all we need. Here's A right here. So right up, and this will be this A, right below middle C. So A, and then B would be right there in this first space above, and then this first ledger line is C. That's middle C. So now that we have both of our clefs up, I just want to show you the grand staff and talk about middle C a little bit. So our grand staff has a treble clef and a bass clef, and we usually hook them together. And this note right here, the first ledger line above bass clef is middle C, C4, and the first ledger line down from treble clef is C4. So that's how they're connected, by this note. That's the first ledger line above bass clef and the first ledger line below treble clef. Middle C, C4. Okay? Back to this. So A, B, that makes this our middle C, as I was just talking about, the first ledger line above. So that's this C right here. Okay, and if this is A, I go up one. I'm sorry, A. If this is A, then our next one is B. Then our first ledger line up, like we just talked about, is a C. And then the space above that is a D. And then the next line up is an E. And so this one above the second ledger line is an F. Okay, so again, if I make this, let's say I make this a sharp. It was this middle C, but now it's C sharp. Okay, a half step to the right. Same with this F. If I made it an F sharp, it would be a half step up. If I made it an F flat, it would be a half step down, also known as E. So F flat and E are the same note. And that's how you deal with ledger lines.